I'm like late to the game with Digitakt, right? I got this one a couple of weeks back, never used it because I was like trying to like build some stuff here in the studio, like the panels and all this stuff. But again, you know, like I was like, okay, let's give it a try. Let's see what we can find, right? The Elektron Digitakt is like kind of like a drum machine. So if you were going to compare this to any of the other Elektron machines, in my opinion, I would compare it to the analog rhythm, just because like it just like the flow is kind of similar. Like use it as a sequencer, you can do MIDI with it and all this other stuff that you guys probably already know. But here's like some of the cool things that I kind of like learned. So you're probably wondering why I'm taking this apart. Well, to be honest, I done some mate tea on it, so I had to like take it apart, dry it out in order to get this video. So yeah, hopefully, you know, it's gonna work. All right, moment of truth, guys. All right, so far no fire. That's pretty cool. Well, let's get into the video. The first thing, right, parameter locks are really easy, right, to do. You can go over here, trig, and you go on here, and then you build parameter locks, right? So right now, one thing that I am gonna do is I'm gonna record and I'm gonna fill it out, right? The other thing is that if you feel uninspired, you can put it at 5% and see what happens, like whatever pattern comes up, right? So let me go back to the kick and let's put in a kick, because why not? So the cool thing is that you could be like, you know, recording this groove, and then you can go in here, right, in track 2, and then maybe like pick this couple that, you know, they might go up every 41, and then again, you know, 81. Let's kill that one. All right, and then let's start building a groove, right? So let's go to the track with the hats. All right. Bring the volume down on it. And then the other thing, right, obviously you can do the LFOs and all the other stuff that you guys have already seen people do, which is pretty cool. Let's go here, and then let's go over here to like you know, like more open hi-hats. So that's simple to actually start generating you know, like different patterns in the track. So the other big thing, right, is that you have a bank of like sounds. Go to the samples, and you have like factory, you have drum synths. There's like a bunch of sounds, you know. You could like just mess around with the sounds here for years, you know, without having to buy some other packs or anything like that. You know, the initial kit for me was, I don't know, I didn't like the sounds. So what I did is I actually, like, again, you know, went into samples. I cleared the samples of my project, and I have a bunch of samples now in this project. The one thing that you can do, right, is that if you generate a pattern, like right now you can see it says on title, and you know, it's just gonna go, you know, in order of what I chose from like 1 to 45, because I think that it's like 45 sounds, the ones that I picked. You can actually go and build your own kits for each of the actual patterns. And the other thing, right, is that you can actually do the same thing for banks, right? So I'm gonna choose bank 2. If I go to pattern 1, there's nothing there, right? So what you can do is actually you can build kits. You can build all the way up to however, like 16 kits if you want to. What I did is I went ahead on bank 1, generated this one that's called bed drip, because I was actually building this while I was in my bed, that's another cool thing about the Digitone. Then what I did is I generated for this bed drip kind of like some sounds that I wanted to like test out. Then I did this other bed house like pattern idea with different sounds, so I went saving them. The one thing that I got in trouble with was that I actually developed like this pattern right here. Let me show it to you, pattern 2, and that's when I started like building the sequence that I was like, okay, this is kind of cool, right? Right, so pretty much what you would do, right? Let's see, we're gonna pick Pank 2, select pattern 1, right? So we're gonna go and pick this sound. I think the kick is fine. This bass drum is cool. Then number 2, I usually go with either like a snare or a clap. Usually I like claps a little bit better. That one's a little bit too. This one, I like that one. I usually use for like synth sounds or anything like that. So this one's fine. I'll keep this one. Another clap, right? 2 claps or a snare in one of them. Cowbell, I honestly never use any cowbell. So I leave that one, you know, for, I could start this slap sound for it. Then we're gonna close hi-hats, right? So this one's a short one. Then open hi-hats, right? And then this one, you know, I would go probably for like another sound. Maybe like an ambient sound. Something like that. And that would be my kit, right? So for this Bank 10, the kit that I could use to like build a track, right, is gonna be this one. So what I do is I'm gonna go over here and we're gonna go save. Actually, this one save. We're gonna rename the pattern, right? So function clear, and then, you know, like I'm gonna call this one like water, because I spilled water on this thing. Water, and then you save it, right? So that's gonna be your kit. So then you can actually like start building sounds and everything with it. So this is kind of like one of those things that I was like, okay, this is pretty awesome to do. So the other big thing, right, is I have like always like stayed away from Overbridge just because I've been afraid of you know, like latency and all this other stuff that, you know, sometimes it matters, but as you get older, like me, yeah, don't even worry about latency. You will always have latency unless, I don't even think that the craziest maxed out computer is not gonna have latency. So don't even worry about that. So I was like, okay, I need to like try Overbridge, right? I've never tried it. This is a perfect time. So hopefully if you're a Logic user, I'm gonna show you something that you might not know, but if you do, please forgive me. So the first thing that you want to do when you want to like separate all the tracks, right, the first thing, you're gonna go over here, audio routing, and you want to make sure that everything is turned off except for those two right here, right, the delay and the reverb, because those are gonna go directly to the master of the plugin, right? So like if we look at here at the plugin, it looks pretty cool, pretty crazy, right? You can do whatever you want here, mangled sounds. I guess the cool thing is that you can do MIDI ramp ups and things like that after you're like generating an idea. So then to get everything out of it, you need to click here. After you input the Digitakt stereo with multiple outputs, right? So right here, 10 stereo outputs. So let me do this. You're gonna have like auxiliaries all the way up to number 9, because this is gonna be 10, right? So now if I look at them, right, if I press play, all of them are gonna go in, right? Let me jump out of here. So obviously, you know, right here you can start messing around with things, making things sound really good. Now, one of the things, right, for me at least, you know, I like my kicks punchy, and if I look at this one, this is like hitting only like -15, so there's like a lot of VVs there, and the reason for that is that, you know, in each one of the elements of the digitone, so if we go back here to the kick, you have level here just for source, then you're gonna have filters, then you're also gonna have a like in the amp you're gonna have another level here, you know, and like all this other stuff. So like it's kind of like gain change staging through the Octatrack, right? which is cool because then you, like, if you're doing like a live performance, you're not gonna blow the speakers up. But once you're recording, it's a little bit annoying. So here is a workaround. If you guys have this plugin, and if you don't, you probably should get it. I use this plugin from Waves to try to like emulate like an analog mixer, right? So then you're gonna bump up the volume there. Now let's hear the kick. See how it went up from 15? It went all the way up to 8.5, right? So what to do next? You bring it up here, however much gain you want. And that gives you a little bit more punch, right? The other thing is that you can actually duplicate this for all the channels that you have. Play it now. So as you guys can see and tell, all the volumes went up, right? The big thing with this is how to like get the sound out, right? Because everything over here, as you can see, it's going through the stereo output, which is the main output of my Apollo. So here is how you do this, right? Buzz 1, buzz 2, then you come over here, you mark all of them, and then you shut them off. And you're gonna say delete anyways. And then what we're gonna do, right, is we're gonna add different tracks, audio tracks here, ascending. How many do we need? Let's go with 10, might as well. And then we're gonna go with, starting with bus 1 to 10, and then those tracks are built, right? So now we have all the tracks in. Now we have to route this, right? So now this one is going to go bus 5, so now all the sounds are going to be generated here, but they're going to go through here to your tracks, right? So let's take a look. As you can see, they're coming through. So we have to change this one from output 9, and we're gonna send all of these ones to stereo output. Check this out. So the one thing that you can do here, right, is once you're recording, you can actually start collecting the data, right? So in order to build tracks with the Digitone, right, it's not like with the Octatrack where you have like song mode and all this other stuff. So if I'm not mistaken, right, just based on the structure, you're gonna go here, and then we're gonna click this pattern, then we're gonna click 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, 7, 7, 7, and then we're gonna go back to 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 7. All right, so technically we're gonna be playing that chain, right? And then we can record this in, you know, for however long we want. Record. All right, so now we could start editing, right? So a bonus tip that I have with the Elektron Octatrack is don't drop water on it. Be nice to your machines. Hopefully this was something that was helpful for you. I know that for me, when I was like trying to decide on like getting the Digitone and all this other stuff, you know, I always came back to like, okay, do I really need this machine? Is it gonna make my workflow better? I think it's pretty unique. I think this does for sure have a place in my studio. All right, guys, hopefully this was helpful to you. Peace.